I have to get revenge. Started a fight club in my sleep. That's sick, actually. That's sick. Could be a mosquito? I don't have any bump or redness to it. It's not itchy, so I don't think so. Brand new best of 5. In the top right, this guy made it to the finals by defeating Clem. That's pretty impressive. It is the blue Protoss, Geralt. In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is HeRoMaRinE. It's the Big Gabe Cup. We expect him to win. We do. But we also expect Clem to win against people we don't know as much. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Geralt at this point, but it's still not a household name among Starcraft fans. And that didn't happen. Geralt played some fantastic PvT, bringing himself back from the brink of defeat, continuing his lead, changing up his builds, his openers. He just played really well. Of what I saw, what I would be like if I was Clem's coach, which I probably would never be, but let's just say. And I was like, okay, champ, what you should have done is this, this, and this. I feel like we're going to see HeRoMaRinE show us what more passive play can look like, which I think might work out better. Clem absolutely has the same stereotype as a playstyle as many other up-and-coming Terrans. I think especially for Terrans, there's a stereotype. And it just is also coincidental that a lot of them are young when they're up-and-coming. But that they're very overzealous. They're very like, let's just end the game, let's do some risks, let's take some chances. And as they get better, they kind of rein it in a little bit. Like, literally what people stereotype young men as. They do the dumb shit, and then they rein it in, right? It's a stereotype that kind of holds true for a lot of the Terran players. HeRoMaRinE is the exact opposite. HeRoMaRinE, even when he was a young Terran 7 years ago playing Starcraft, he actually was not that type of guy. He learned from the great Spoon Terran himself. Defensive play. Oh, Thorazane. Anyways. So I think we're going to see what that looks like. And I think it might work out better. I'm not saying that what Clem did was wrong, but maybe it was a little bit too much of a push of like, I hope I can kill him right now. Maybe. And then I also think we might see more varied builds from HeRoMaRinE, just because he was probably watching that last series and going, okay, alright, I need to do this to stop this from happening. Where Clem was a little bit on the more one-dimensional side for his builds. You know, some Raven openers, one of the builds was a drop, I guess, that's true, but you know, right now, we actually see something we have never seen from Clem before, which is going into reactored Hellions. So, those are the two big things I think is going to be different. We'll see if it works out better against Geralt. Geralt's going to continue doing what he's doing, being a little bit cheesy occasionally, and probably going into Disruptors eventually. So, with this Twilight Council, I'm expecting a Dark Shrine. Is HeRoMaRinE going to be prepared? There you go. HeRoMaRinE's initial Hellions are pushed away from the front. Ice and Chrome's kind of brutal for this because he doesn't have a very small wall. But HeRoMaRinE, what else has he scouted? This is actually his first scout. He didn't go for a Reaper, so slightly faster on the Hellion drop then. That's a little scary. Not because Geralt wouldn't be anticipating it. It's definitely on your mind as a Protoss player when you see 2 Hellions. But that he doesn't have a lot of units. It's a little bit faster, so less units. And he's going for a Dark Shrine, so less units. This is going to be scary. Geralt is going to try and go to the main initially. While walling off. That's the best thing he could possibly do. Actually, this is a really good hold by Geralt so far. Very good hold. HeRoMaRinE even added on 2 more Hellions than he usually would, trying to take advantage of what he hoped was this response or something close to it, but it doesn't work out. And this is a complete disaster from HeRoMaRinE, so golly gee, this is bad. HeRoMaRinE is going into not a Raven either. He's going to actually have scans available for Geralt's pesky little DT warpins. They are coming from right field in this instance, and they're pretty far away, but that actually might add to the success of them, depending on how this works out with the energy. Doesn't... Oh, God, no, it added. It added. A mule just got dropped. Oh, no. Oh, did you see? Did you see the shimmer? Does that have a scan? Doesn't matter if he doesn't see the shimmer. Oh, he did. That's supply depots. Scan's gonna be available in 2 seconds. Is he gonna be able to catch every single DT with the repair? Oh, she's so good. Alright, he doesn't quite catch every single DT, but my god. Actually, while the shimmer happened, he also scouted the Dark Shrine. I'm not sure what happened first, but the Hellions finally found the hidden location. That's gonna be worth taking out for HeRoMaRinE at some point. Alright, the game does not end. The Hellion drop doesn't do very much, and the DTs don't do very much. At the end of the day, the DTs got a supply depot and 2 SCVs? Maybe, not even. So, whew. Phew. Macro game it is then. And everything else looking like normal. We're anticipating Templar Archives from Geralt. He's been quite good with the Stormy Boys in the Warp Prism. He's been going kind of like sometimes right into Robo, sometimes right into High Templars, so it's not a given for HeRoMaRinE. In this case, it is right to the Templar Archives, even before the Robo was slapped down. HeRoMaRinE's going to have a push soon. Actually gonna go for a drop first. Okay. He might be doing this to also clean up the Dark Shrine and the Gateway. And I'm sure experience has taught him that it's not good to let this go. Would it be great to do his push and hit that like really precise timing with his tanks and his bio? Yeah. But is it worth a single DT coming in at your natural? No. So I actually really like this. I think this is the best thing he could do. Because he also can still team up with the rest of his army if he wants to do a push. But I guess he thinks that that's not really going to be an opportunity he has. So he's going to lift his third, send it over, cleans up a gateway and a Dark Shrine. And might have a drop for later on. Oh, good protection here. The tank was jumped on. There was Widowmines waiting. Ghost Academy is already almost finished. Terrans almost always go for a Ghost Academy before like a second starport, for instance. So it's not that HeRoMaRinE is necessarily and like 100% anticipating the High Templars. It's gonna work out well for him. Ghosts are just generally good, right? But also, it does make sense that High Templars come out. It used to make so much sense that it wasn't done. You know what I mean? It was that weird thing where like for a year you would think Twilight Council, Targe, Blink. Okay, obviously they're gonna go into a Templar Archives, and they would go into double Robo, and you'd be like, "Oh, you got me. Oh no." But it's funny because now it's played out so much like that actually going into Storm is the surprise. And oh geez, Ghosts aren't quite ready for this. Geralt using the rocks in the middle to get some prime positioning. He does lose his Stalkers. It is actually something of a trade there, as he was caught out of position, and then HeRoMaRinE is caught off guard. But it's cool stuff there from Geralt. How many more High Templars does he have? Just one, it looks like. I'm not sure this push is really going to do what he's hoping it will. No EMPs available still. Upgrades even. Geralt's getting a 4th Nexus. Almost finished behind this. And also readying his transfer over into Robotics Bay because his macro has been left untouched. Good use of the Warp Prism in the main base. Maybe a Storm on top of these clumped up SCVs alongside some Zealot Warpins could be very nasty for HeRoMaRinE to deal with. Yeah, very, very annoying. Still not using my Templar though. Waiting to do it on the bio. I mean, it was kind of cool, but even cooler is into the natural, getting rid of that bunker instantly. The Ghost Academy also could be under fire. Still no EMPs. The 3 ghosts are on their way now, but it looks like HeRoMaRinE doesn't even need them. The Ghost Academy remains alive. Going to finish up the EMP shockwave. Some ghosts are dying as they produce. That's pretty good pickoffs. That's expensive. Training a Zealot for a ghost, absolutely worth it. But nothing really amounts to much, I think, at the end of the day. Some SCDs went down, but not a whole lot. Some mining was lost, but not a whole lot. HeRoMaRinE took a better army trade, but not by too much. That is the scenario right now, though, is that the HeRoMaRinE army is better than Geralt's. Geralt's economy is better than HeRoMaRinE's. Double drop going off to the right side. Well, I would expect HeRoMaRinE to push to the left. Not so much. The probe does not get the Zelnaga to see the drop, but I think it's all the Marauder shot.
Apparently you are doing something right, Captain.
Thank you very much, Hurt One, for the 13 months. Hi, ZG, you rock. Whoa. Nice pick off there from Geralt. He knows that this is not all of the army, though. It's just a drop, so all of his army, the rest of his army, is over to the left side. Second Colossus joining the fray, too, and I think that just made it barely too much for HeRoMaRinE to deal with. He's going to pull back to his tanks, burrow his Widow Mines, and try and get a concave, but actually it's a little bit late for the concave. The Zealots envelop his bio as he was setting up everything else a bit late, but he does pull back to more reinforcements. That's not too bad. Still even supplies. Even this drop came back in aggressively and somehow was not shot down. Gonna maybe go into the natural. Could pick off the Templar Archives. Would be a nice pick off indeed. Where are the EMPs? They're looking for the High Templars. They don't really hit them, unfortunately. The War Prism just a little bit too good for that micro. You might be able to save a lot of these ghosts, though, and that's still a pretty good retreat. Drop of the natural is very, very weak, it looks like, so it can't stick around to take care of the Zealots or take care of the Forges. Widowmine's being taken care of by the Disruptors, and Geralt even has 2-2 much further ahead of HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE had a chance, he had a push, and it's gone. Now he's down in upgrades, and he's going to be down in army supply. Well, maybe not. It's actually quite close. But he's certainly down in economy. That much cannot be argued. Geralt's on 4 bases, going up to 5. And HeRoMaRinE still does not have a 4th CC. Why is HeRoMaRinE getting a 6th barracks? Usually the order is 1, 3, 5, 8 for barracks production. And that 8 usually happens when you're either all-inning on 3 bases or you're going to a 4th. You don't really see a 6th. Is he miscounting his own barracks? No. No, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know what this is. Anyways, what it's not is it's not a 4th. So HeRoMaRinE is going to be. I mean, he could eventually play catch up. Is the thing. Like they're both maxing out, right? Like when you don't have a 4th and you're constantly trading, that's when it's absolutely damaging and terrible. But if you're both maxing out, I mean, so what? You just start to bank a little bit. You used to build 2 command centers. You double expand, right? You might be able to catch up on the economy, is what I'm saying. But HeRoMaRinE really is waiting a long time to do that. Drops finally entirely cleaned up thanks to that 1 cannon. Disruptors coming forward are going to find actually not as much as they thought they would. Vikings a little late to the party. EMP's going down, and Geralt will not be able to push through into that natural. Even recalling, I think that was a scared recall. I don't see anything on the map that forced it, so he just was really scared of the army. That's a little awkward, as the rest of the army is still... Yeah, there you go. Still have to move it. EMP to take down Disruptor health. Kills it. Ooh, the Vikings almost get that War Prism instantly, and Geralt's overstaying his welcome a little bit. Finds a Viking and a Medevac. Nice control. Pairs up with his army once again. He's got 1 Disruptor looking for the juicy hit. Not going to find it. HeRoMaRinE was chasing down a couple of Zealots off to the left side, so... Not his entire army currently being shown. Still no 4th CC? Wow. Wow. Geralt is making bank here. I guess HeRoMaRiNE's eventually going to... Oh my god, the War Prism. Eventually going to lift his command center, need be. 1 Viking almost getting shot down, but not quite. Shield Overcharge is going to help protect that War Prism. I heard a Ghost go down. Did it get any EMPs? Doesn't look like it. 2 War Prisms, actually. One or two storms do go down, but the rest of the High Templars die. EMP's on top of the Stalkers as well. Disruptor not getting too many great hits. The Concave is looking good for HeRoMaRinE, but are the numbers of the units good enough? More reinforcements coming up from the left side. Colossus dying to the Vikings, and they're going to go ahead and land as well to add a big ol' punch to this push. Has HeRoMaRinE actually done it? He's currently doubling the arm supply of his opponent. With all their upgrades not quite done, but he scans ahead and sees that cannons and shield batteries might just be a little bit too much to deal with, and repostures over to the right side. Now this base is more mined out, so it's not as bad if it dies. But it still would be at least something for HeRoMaRinE to work with. One Disruptor's gonna look for a juicy hit on top of the clumped up army through that choke, but has to be careful not to be sniped. Oh no, oh my god, HeRoMaRinE's not paying attention! Oh, the split was so late, he lost so much army. He had pulled the boys, which would have helped so much against his army type. But that one Disruptor hit, I think, just took away all the chances. A second and a third Disruptor are on the way. Shield Overcharge is ready on this Nexus as well. And at the end of the day, if Geralt really was desperate, he could start warping in DT after DT. Another Disruptor's looking for a juicy hit. Not really going to find too much, but something at the very least. Geralt pulling his probes, probably unnecessarily, as I think he has enough Stalkers to really do it. He also has the upgrade lead. And my god, it looks so close, but at the end of the day, Geralt could give up his Nexus and still be fine. And that is going to be it for Big Gabe. Geralt with the PVT is on fire. Hot diggity damn. Geralt ate his Wheaties today, exactly. He had a box with Michael Jordan on the front that he's been holding on to for 30 years, and he's like, today's the day, Michael. And he eats it, gets a bit of food poisoning, and then rocks the rest of the tournament. G flippin' G. We find ourselves on Everdream for game number 2. In the top right, as the blue Protoss, he is Geralt. In the bottom left is the red Terran. He is Mal's HeRoMaRinE. Everdream, a pretty scary map. A lot of pushes that can take advantage of not just the closeness of the naturals, but also the way the naturals are set up. Talking about those blink pushes, you know, I'm talking about those one-base liberator pushes, take care of this choke type deal. Neither player are necessarily the types to do extreme things like one-base pushes, but it's actually the one thing Geralt hasn't shown us yet in 6 TvPs. He's not gone for the 4-gate blink. Which at this point, I really do think has just, like, lost its flavor. People anticipate it too much. It's not worth it. You're not, you know, parting and dealing more damage than it ever should type thing. But I do still think that of 6, 8, 9, 10 PVTs, like, eventually you might want to throw one in.
Twitch
Not
Prime
so for Geralt.
sub received.
Not so.
Thank you for appeasing the overmind.
Thank you very much, Yoza, for the 14-month resub. I bet one of those is worth something now. The Wheatie boxes with Michael Jordan on them. Probably not. I go to antique stores with my mom, and I'm pretty sure I've seen a few. Without the, you know, Wheaties inside. Ugh. Now I see why HeRoMaRiNE's losing. He's a master versus a GM. Yes. Alright, Geralt's gonna work again with a potential... No, it's a Stargate, yeah? No. Yeah, it's a Stargate. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit later to the pylon. So working again with an early aggressive opener, but... Well, last game, Geralt's DTs didn't do very much. I think that it was not so committed that other things couldn't make up for it. And basically what made up for the DTs not doing a whole lot was that HeRoMaRiNE's opener also didn't do a whole lot, I would say. And then Geralt had a pretty amazing fight in the middle of the map with Storm. But for this one... HeRoMaRiNE could take some pretty serious damage. It's a very, very close Oracle, and he's not getting any Widow Mines. He's not building up his Marine count until just literally now. So he went for Reaper Marine opener? Reaper Marine? Oh, no, it Marine opener. Okay, anyways. He doesn't have a lot to deal with an Oracle, right? So this Oracle could do some serious damage, more so than we saw the DTs. And if Geralt once again hardcore denies HeRoMaRiNE's opener, anything that gets thrown at him, Geralt could take the lead. Cyclone is now on the way, but the Oracle is almost ready to go. The Chrono as he plans a second Oracle behind it. Alright, good start, good start. 3 SCV should go down, a fourth one as well, I would suspect. It's gonna avoid the Marines. Why not? Oh, and the Adept comes through as well. The Marine count not high enough to take on all of these, although the energy of the Adept fails a little bit here. He's gonna go ahead and grab another Marine. Maybe trying to get one more SCV would have been the right call, but hard to micro specifically that quickly. Viking was looking around for another Oracle. He absolutely knows that it's proxied. I mean, that was way too fast for anything else, but oh, I think it's gonna die. Yeah. Oh, seriously? Oh, man. I really thought the Viking damage was gonna do it. But, ooh, saves 2 Oracles. I mean, they are injured, but damn. It's got some Adepts on the way, and I love this follow-up. Geralt really playing into the current meta, I feel. I mean, Roddy was absolutely right. Of course Roddy was right. Back, 2 weeks ago, he was like, I would love for people to start doing charge first again. To take care of some of these openers that the Terrans are throwing. The offensive openers, obviously. The ones that are just like, lol, tank pushes. But also even just to apply some pressure. I could see it going really well. I could go into the benefits of charge versus blink in terms of a macro game, but I don't think that's as worth as saying that right now, what Terrans are anticipating is blink. And when they have to deal with charge lots instead, it does change the way you deal with them. Charge and blink, very different styles of engagements. Styles of harassment, right? So I do like this from Geralt. We'll see if it actually amounts to very much. This could be just, like, totally unimportant, and at the end of the day, it still becomes blink and charge, right? We're both ready. Kind of feels like that might be where it's going to. A third Nexus is almost finished. Geralt just saw that a third CC is almost finished, so knows that these barracks, as late as they are, aren't going to be pumping out very many bio units very quickly. 2 Oracles still alive, getting a Revelation as well. 10 SCVs in total have gone down this game, where Geralt has taken no damage. HeRoMaRiNE's, I think he made like 1 Hellion, didn't even do anything. And there's Blink now on the way, so prioritizing the +1 armor, which makes sense with this style. Getting up to an okay number of gateways, 6 for now. I really thought Geralt was going to include a Warp Prism, but he's actually... Okay, that's an Observer. Yeah, he actually holds off on the Warp Prism, just because I thought, like, okay, maybe Charge is just in case there is a tank push, so you're again, playing into what a lot of TvPs look like. But if it doesn't end up being a tank push, like, why not just have Charge lots for Warp Prism harassment, right? I think that would be good, but Warp Prisms are 275 minerals nowadays, so... I guess that would take away from either Storm or Blink or more gateways. All things you really need. There we now finally have a Warp Prism. But yeah, it turned into one of those just like, well, doesn't matter which one they went for first. The point is they have both eventually. Yada, yada, yada. I still like it, though. If HeRoMaRinE was like, aha, I dealt with your oracles finally, let me push across the map, he would have gotten bopped. Looks like Geralt saw something move over here. The observer, maybe? Zealot sees the arm move over to the right side. This is where you think the push is going to come. Stalkers do find the push, but it's kind of like, did the drop find the Stalkers or vice versa? Forced to blink to the right side, now are no longer able to cover the main base, but there are some Zealots. A single feedback is available, but not much else. More importantly, is Geralt prepared on the right side? This is kind of the same idea that got him bopped on Ice and Chrome, but without the Banshees. Oh no, 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 with the flip-flop, why? Okay, well that's... But why? Why does he keep moving into this? I guess he just thinks his army's closer than it is, or there's less tanks than there are, I don't... What? This is so awkward. I mean, maybe Geralt ends up holding, but I think this was a lot more awkward than it had to be. The drop comes in from the left side, and a lot more DPS with all these Marines, and the Stalkers are very, very low without shields, without Zealots covering them. Thankfully, the reinforcements come in, but... That was just weird. Yeah, I think it might have been both. I think it might have been Geralt thought his army was closer, reinforcing, and he was like, I'm going to collapse on him. Oh, wait, it's not here. And also, he thought HeRoMaRinE didn't have as many units there as he actually did. I thought Geralt was in a fine position to hold, and now he's actually desperately holding. Very close to just straight up dying, to be honest. Oh, okay. Well, this might be one of Geralt's weaknesses. Again, same idea, just not with the Banshee, but rather with a double drop. HeRoMaRiNE's going to continue rallying forward from the third base to the fourth is a pretty quick rally. That's why Terran players do it on this map exactly like this. Geralt's desperately trying to pump out Immortals because he never got to Robotics Bay. He's just trying to get something to help him out here. He also doesn't have enough gateways to be stopped at 6 when he really want to be up at 8 or even 9 or 10. But definitely 8, so he's banking minerals. And he can't replace the High Templars because he needs to use his gateways immediately. So... Oh, yeah, this is going to be it. I think Geralt knows he kind of threw that engagement. That was a little too odd. Just a tap out. Not as hype as that first one. And maybe he also just thought he'd get a really good storm, like, What the flippity flip flop flip flop. Ziggy is so cute. The little sister. Like what? What are you talking about? I was kind of hoping when he got older, Ziggy would have a bit of that like mane fluff, you know? But he doesn't. Not really. He's kind of a small cat too. They said he was the runt of his litter, but that doesn't always mean they stay the smallest, but like Apollo's pretty much a medium-sized cat, maybe on like the smaller side. And then Ziggy's actually just smaller than Apollo. And then I've had orange tabbies before. Like my family's almost always had at least one orange tabby. And those suckers get really big. My family has a cat named Blazer, and he's actually like, he's probably like 15 or 16 pounds. And not necessarily because he's overweight, just because he's like really big. Anyhow, enough about my cats. In the bottom left of Eternal Empire, it's the blue Protoss Geralt. In the top right is the red Terran. He is HeRoMaRinE, getting an easier game 2 there. Well, that was weird. Yeah, exactly. I think Geralt knows exactly when that started to spiral out of control. Nothing else had really said that he was behind. In fact, he probably thought he was even in a pretty good space because the oracles were doing so well. Not well enough to be like, lol, 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 I win, but, you know, they're doing pretty well. So it just ended up being the awkward engagement. Losing 10 supply, then 10 supply, then taking the actual engagement. That's never going to work out very well. So, a little bit of an oopsie. I guess Geralt has one of those per best of 5. Started talking about the early days of Starcraft 2. I don't mind it. I like it. Pog! Thank you, Breadstick Ninja, for gifting a sub to Ragnarokette. Pog. What happened to my hard drive? My power supply broke during one of the DreamHack casts, actually. On, Thursday, I want to say? Last Thursday or last Wednesday or something along those lines. I was just, like, doing my thing, watching the series, and then suddenly my computer just shut off. So I immediately suspected there was the power supply, but you never really know. But after attempting a few things here and there, I was like, it's the power supply. So I did some surgery. I had a old computer that I still kept around because I had ideas of doing a two PC setup at one point, but it didn't really work. It was too annoying. So I was like, okay, I'll just gut this one and use its old power supply, which worked fine. In fact, I think it actually is even a better power supply. Because there was, I don't think I upgraded my power supply when I used my old computer. Anyways, doesn't matter. But the problem is that when I moved, I threw away my box of shit. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a box of computer shit. I threw that away because I was like, yeah, I never use these. Why do I need a bunch of, like, you know, SATA cables? I don't. So my power supply that's currently available that actually works is missing 2 cables that they would have provided me. Because I didn't need them for, like, my old rig, my old setup. So I can power 1 hard drive. And of course I choose my SSD because it's what actually has my boot on it. So that means I don't have access to my hard drive. Not that it's broke, I just don't have the ability to power it and obtain the information. And I used my hard drive to put all my, like, graphics and YouTube stuff and whatever. So I tried to get new cables for it. The cables ended up being too short, so I couldn't fix it today. So I finally bought a new power supply that's available on Friday. That'll have all the cables. And any other alternative solution wouldn't come any faster before anyone starts suggesting, like, you know, hard drive readers and whatever. So there you go, there's my story. I hope you liked it. Geralt once again opting for the Phoenix opener on Eternal Empire. Nice save with his Phoenix, although he almost made it a dead Phoenix. Good save, good save. Otherwise, not much has gone on. HeRoMaRinE goes for a typical opener, very fast, actually, in a stim. So it's a slight difference, actually, but it's almost negligible to really talk about it. Wait a minute. No, this isn't actually what I thought it was. Okay, hold on. Alright, so this is not normal. Okay, so I thought he had just gone into a 1-1-1 and then made sure to emphasize a second barracks faster. So you get stim faster, and you push with stim, and you wait on combat shields a little bit. It's just a little bit faster of a push, right? But it's also a little bit weaker. No, it's not that. Good pick off on the Cyclone. It is actually just it looks like a 2-1 or a 1-1-3 or whatever we call it, order of operations here. So that's going to give him a lot of bio on the grounds, but it's going to delay his medevacs. So his CC also came down a lot faster. This is something that Geralt has scouted in its entirety because he went Phoenix. So he knows that he can maybe play a little bit greedier With that third CC down as fast as it is, with the starport being delayed, there's not really going to be a push without a starport. 3 racks pushes are very dangerous to do in the higher leagues. So, let's see how Geralt responds to that. With his Phoenix opener, he likes to go into the robotics bay, and that's what we see here. He's got a single forge. He's not going to play, actually, any greedier, really. Actually, the second forge might be a response to what he scouted. It might be. So that second forge finishes up, he starts up a second upgrade. That might be his response to what he's seeing. And as far as defending his third Nexus against the eventual push, well, that's 2 shield batteries, I would say. 1 Colossus, maybe 2? Yeah, I think it'll be fine. A couple damage here and there as Hellion got cheeky kills. Watch the Phoenix for a little while. They're the only thing that can kind of halt HeRoMaRiNE's push. Scout the push as well. The Observer almost died, but not quite, so I guess that could scout the push too. Currently being corralled, but as they're corralled, they also know there's not a push on the way. If all the units are chasing the Phoenix, then Geralt has plenty of time to build more things. Getting to double upgrades again, starting out that +2 attack. He's got charge on the way, extended thermal lance, and a second Colossus, I think, just popped out. Oh, nope, I'm blind. Nope, it's on its way. But it will be out for the push, right? That's the most important thing. So that's what we're paying attention to. The push versus the defensive Colossus setup. What PSU did you get? 600 watt... No, 600... Shit, what is it? 680. No, I was right? It's like one of the only available ones, honestly. Power supplies are in short supply because people went, I need computers to work at home. Which they aren't wrong, but it just sucks when this happens. I don't know. I don't remember what the specific thing is. 350 watts. And something. Enough to power my rig, that's what it is. HeRoMaRiNE really he didn't do any pushes that I thought he would, and by that I mean just like if you watch Terran versus Protoss, right, you usually expect a sim combat shield push, you expect like a couple tanks with the push, but he waited as long as possible to do this push. Very macro oriented, a basically maxed out push timing. 9 minutes, 1-1, Vikings to tackle what he knew was going to be Phoenix Colossus. Did he give Geralt too much time to defend though? Disruptor is available, not going to get anything there. Shield batteries are available at the 4th base, not so much at the 3rd, not as much. And that's where HeRoMaRiNE is going. Storm isn't quite done, +2 isn't quite done, but it is finishing. HeRoMaRiNE has not pulled the SCVs with this. He's getting a 4th CC behind it, so if he gets even 1 Nexus kill, that would be a brutal blow to Geralt's economy. Geralt finishes up that Storm. He's going to try and go for the push, but his Colossus are looking awfully useless. They're just running into Vikings without killing any of these units. That is devastating. Some Zealots in the back are going to try and come forward, but the Disruptors have not gotten any great shots, and wow, HeRoMaRiNE just ripped Geralt apart. Oh my god, what was Geralt supposed to do about that? The army was so not clumped that Geralt's splash looked flipping lame. Oh my god, HeRoMaRiNE just stomped all over Geralt. Oh my god. We did 9 minutes to do anything, but when he did, it was strong. And I ended up not being able to get anything off of Amazon because like the only available thing from Amazon was like, yeah, 150, 160 bucks. So what I did is I ended up looking up my local, you know, electronic shops like Best Buy. And they had a power supply for 50, 60 bucks, you know, the normal range, price range, available for pickup on Friday. So give that a try. I also even looked at like eBay, but I figured the Best Buy thing would be safer. In the top left, on Death Aura, it is the Blue Protoss Geralt. In the bottom right is the Red Tear, and he is HeRoMaRinE, and it is still the Big Gabe Cup, apparently. He's up 2-1. Geralt's, I guess, getting some of his weaknesses really highlighted. Both his weakness as a player, as well as his weakness as a build choice. In the second game on Everdream, I think his weakness as a player is, you know, maybe a little bit of the distraction gets to him. I think we see Geralt, you know, deal with a Howling drop there, left, right, center, Widowmine's left, up, down, and he'll react to him like a pro should, but that doesn't mean that they just overall don't have a weakness. Like, it was the trend between Terran players, and he got distracted by one thing or another and just wasn't quite mentally prepared or physically prepared to deal with a push. That last game was just so powerful that I think you really would have to buy, like, you'd have to come in from different angles. No, I think what you would have to do is match the army, catch it when it's still clumped and not already threatening your nexus on top of the high ground, right? Catch it before it runs up the ramp type thing. The fact that HeRoMaRinE is on the high ground of Eternal Empire, split like he was, I think was already devastating, and that's mostly due to positioning. Of course, HeRoMaRinE's army supply, general supply, looked quite good, so it was always going to be a tough hold, but I think already letting him up the ramp was probably the worst thing about Geralt's defense. But then on top of that, he was very dependent on Splash. He was dependent on getting a couple of groups of units hit with the same unit, as opposed to having a maxed out army full of charge lots and stalkers. So HeRoMaRinE is able to take advantage of that as well. Well, which was your favorite cider? I really like the blueberry one. Behind Blue Eyes. Is something on Newegg as well? Nah. Like, when I googled some of the things I'd find on Amazon, Newegg would be, like, entirely out of stock. So, did I do, like, my due diligence to find something that was both cheap, effective, and super quick? Probably not. But from what I did, I basically settled on, you know, cheap as in, like, what power supplies are supposed to be. Effective, as in I don't really need 800, 900, blah, 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 blah. And kind of fast, which is by the end of the week. Good job with DreamHack. Thank you. There's going to be more games and more casters.
Arming raid defenses.
Thank you very much, Creighton Olsen, for the viewers. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining the raid. They didn't expect a raid at this point. Alright, let's really pay attention to what HeRoMaRinE's build is. I think he chose the last build because it was Eternal Empire. He is going back into the normal build, the 1-1-1 into 2 barracks, and in this case, adding on a Raven as well. Depth's not really going to be able to see that, confirm that it's going to be a Raven opener, but Geralt's not going for like a Dark Shrine here. He actually is just going into regular old Blink. He's getting a bit of a faster Robo than what you technically could do, but I would just call this safe. Actually, he's getting a 4th Gas Geyser as well, so faster into robotics bay, I would guess. Their nexus is going to come down, but then very quickly into a robotics bay, I think. If you go for, you know, just the charge and that's it, you just mass a bunch of gateways. You don't really need that fourth gas. Look at that! Look at that! I'm gonna one day make a compilation of every clip where I actually called something correctly, and anytime someone's like, I just don't think she knows very much, I'm just gonna be like, what bam! Eat it. But yeah, anyways, it's funny though, because it's still like not fully saturated. I do think that's on purpose, but yeah. Alrighty then, so a handful of stalkers that can give the appearance that, you know, hey, I could be going for charge, or I could not, you don't know. But not really enough to ever scare HeRoMaRinE into being like, oh my god, he's gonna blink stalker attack me, right? Literally just enough to keep tabs on the Terran army. Not even enough to one-shot a Raven, so if the Raven ever gets out of position, it should be fine. It looks like the Observer was able to see either the Raven or the WidowMine drop. Well, it catches the WidowMine drop at the end, so that's nice. Very, very nice. So I don't know if he caught the Raven moving out that way either, but there was... The Observer was kind of... It's actually kind of a good observer. The stalkers aren't tracking the army anymore, and I would say that's a bit concerning. They just went over Geralt's weaknesses. Being distracted seems to be one of them. Raven goes in to kill some of the probes at the third. Geralt, does he just think... Oh no. Oh no, because he didn't see more medevacs? Oh no. HeRoMaRinE being a little clever here, only had one medevac to work with, and still does the push, which is a big surprise to Geralt, who thought he'd be waiting a little while longer. 11 probes go down, stalkers go down, shields, the flipping, what do we call it, sentry goes down, and that's tough. The Colossus does help a lot, it doesn't go down, but 11 probes dead, some stalker trade out as well. That was not what was supposed to happen. Is, I guess, the end of the summation of what just happened there. Summation even a word? It's a summary of what happened there. At the end of the day, it's not too big of a resources loss difference. Geralt still has his Colossus, which HeRoMaRinE isn't quite prepared for, no Vikings. And he still has Disruptor tech, which there's not really any preparing for the Terran. He just kind of split and hope you do well. And now HeRoMaRinE has 3 more workers, and having that worker lead as a Terran versus the Protoss always feels good. Geralt's going to struggle to... He's going to struggle to do all the things he wants to do, right? If you want to add on a bunch of charge lots, make sure you have enough stalkers, also go into High Templars, and blah, 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 blah. You can't really do that when you just lost a bunch of probes. Also, at this point, I do believe this is a mistake. I think initially it was not a mistake. I think at this point it's got to be. Although... I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm just going with what you would usually expect in StarCraft 2, but maybe this is just super big brain. I mean, he clearly sees it. He just chronoed this. And he is banking gas. I just would have figured that, that adding in High Templars would have been his next move. That's really what I'm thinking, right? We see the combination of Geralt's splash units has really brought him back in some bad games before, and yet in this game he is not mixing up his splash. He's not going to the High Templars, and I would have figured that would have been a good use of, well, this excess gas, and even more excess gas if he's actually mining all of his gases. And then also just a good thing to have HeRoMaRinE continually dodge around. You know, having to deal with Colossus, Disruptors, and Storm is tough for anyone. It's a Colossus drop? What is happening? What is going on? What is this? What is... I don't know, man, but I know that HeRoMaRinE has a stupid high army supply. He's up 40 army supply, he's got +1 armor finishing, and Geralt had to give up something. Had to give up many things, really. Does not have a second upgrade on the way. Observer is tailing this army, and I just don't know what Geralt thinks when he sees this. He thinks, oh god, Disruptors, please save me. Can he do it? They're coming in from a position that HeRoMaRinE wouldn't be expecting, but they're on top of tanks, so I don't think they're gonna get the juiciest hits possible. They will get... Ooh! Okay, that wasn't terrible, but I think they still wanted the bio more than the tanks. Raven going for some auto turret harassment is going to take care of the stalkers, so they're not helping the right side here. That's a very lonely looking Colossus and Disruptor. One of them could be sniped. Neither one of them will be. Yeah, 2 tanks down and much of a third one. Not bad. The Disruptor does not end up shooting its shots. Because the snipe was too good. Colossus isn't really even helping that much, to be honest. And the Stalkers will not hold up to this push. This is actually it. Geralt played some fantastic PvT against Clam, and that first game looked very promising for him. But eventually, HeRoMaRiNE's experience and his dominance in these open cups ended up to be just too strong. GG, well played. HeRoMaRiNE. You never doubt HeRoMaRiNE in these weekly cups. Never.